Clout chaser is a popular internet terminology that's used to derisively describe someone whose career or fame is grown in ways that feel inorganic, desperate, and questionable. Unlike someone whose career is cultivated in a more organic form, clout chasing is oftentimes defined by unorthodox marketing schemes, eye-catching antics, and blatant social climbing, with the express intent of growing oneself as large and as quickly as possible in the public eye. While it is widely considered that clout chasing can work to grow a career, it's also recognised that clout chasing can also result in a significant blow to longevity, as people tend to see clout chasers more as gimmicks than actual celebrities. In the modern rap community, the label of clout chaser is oftentimes used to describe a fledgling or stagnant career, and in some cases, new and upcoming rap acts can have their careers tarnished significantly by being tagged with such label. One Marquez Santiago, or as he's better known by his rap persona, Kid Boo, is an artist who knows well the potential damage that can be caused by being labelled a clout chaser. From growing up in a violent and poor part of New Jersey in his early years, to being indoctrinated into a cult and adopting his stage name from a character in the anime series Dragon Ball Z, Kid Boo's strange story and short-lived relevance in the rap industry makes him living proof that growth in the entertainment industry can be a double-edged sword for anyone whose past may not be the cleanest. Born in Jersey City, New Jersey on April the 11th of 1988, Kid Boo's life was already marked with challenges commonly faced by those who are unfortunate enough to grow up in the violent and poorer parts of the United States. At a young age, he would be exposed to unfortunate experiences that included seeing people, some of which were his own friends, be shot dead in the street. For anyone at such a young age, seeing such things would be difficult to come to terms with, but for the already struggling Kid Boo, who had to endure the struggles of being financially destitute as he lived with a single mother who followed a religious cult throughout his childhood and had little money to provide him with a comfortable life, he would also find himself on the outskirts of social experiences, as he became engrossed in the world of anime and also found himself being homeschooled for a considerable part of his education experience. As he grew older, Kid Boo would adopt a religious interest in his life, that being the obscure French-Belgian religion, Raelism. The atheist religion has embraced the idea that the human race was created by extraterrestrial beings, known as the Elohim, using advanced technology, as opposed to the idea of humankind being created by transcendent beings or God. Despite being labelled an atheist religion, Raelism has been deemed a cult by many world governments. The symbol of Raelism is a Star of David brandishing a swastika in the centre. Kid Boo claims he was inspired to join the Raelism religion after an unexplained UFO experience that led him to becoming invested in the religion. Kid Boo would move from New Jersey to Florida in hopes of a better future, but soon after, Kid Boo would find himself in legal hot water early in his life, as he would become a father at a very young age. Him and his at-the-time girlfriend would find the relationship to be turbulent, as the young couple struggled with poverty and the hardships that came with raising a child. He would be arrested in 2008 after an issue between him and his partner led to him punching her in the face while their 2-year-old was in the room. He then allegedly pulled a firearm and threatened to kill any cops called to the resident. However, that last detail is frequently disputed, as no gun was ever recovered from the scene, and Kid Boo denies these allegations. He was arrested and pled guilty to the charges. He would be sentenced to 2 years of probation, which he successfully served in the year 2010. Before adopting the stage name of Kid Boo when trying to kickstart his rap career, Marquez would instead appear under the name of Humongous the God, where he would continuously release music over the course of many years. While he was able to gain some traction under the name Humongous the God, he still remained a relative no-name, as most believed his talent and style were not up to par in comparison to other big-name artists in the industry at the time. He also found himself collaborating with big names like executive producer DJ Khaled and the Migos. Around this time, it's widely believed that he was spending thousands of dollars to cultivate his music career, which many use to explain how he was able to attain his most prominent features. He would also pay to expand the reach of his career by purchasing social media followers, public appearances, and even throwing lavish parties with strippers and big-name guests. To this day, it's still unknown where all of this disposable income came from, as he had spent a majority of his life living in poverty and had completely dropped off the map after his previous arrest. Maybe it was his religion funding his career. Who knows? After some mild success, he would rebrand himself from Humongous the God to Kid Buu, the name he would become most well known by. The name derived itself from his favourite character in the beloved anime series Dragon Ball Z, which had quickly become a worldwide phenomenon during the early years of Kid Buu's life, with the specific character that the name originates from being an antagonist in the series. He would also adopt the Majin Buu logo, which was frequently featured in Majin Buu's many different character designs, that he also had tattooed on his forehead between his eyes. Despite the name change and his less than stellar growth as an artist up until this point, that would not stop Kid Buu from doing everything in his power to try and attain fame in the rap industry, as he would use similar tactics to those that could be seen by other artists at the time, as what many people called the SoundCloud era was in full swing, a genre known for placing focus on charisma over lyrical content, a genre that had been popularised by not only its notable sound, but also its visual flares, such as rainbow-coloured hair and facial tattoos that were quickly becoming prominent facets of the genre's notoriety. Despite sharing more than a few of the tropes generally associated with the SoundCloud style, his track Death to SoundCloud would find an audience larger than one he had ever managed to capture previously. Releasing on the 29th of July 2018, the song now sits with over 12 million views. However, the quality of the song is frequently disputed. While the beat and production are recognised as the high point of the song, Kid Buu's performance is criticised universally for being lackluster and derivative of other rappers. Despite this, the success of his first major song seemed to be just enough to break him into the upper echelon of the rap industry, securing the public eye on him for just long enough to potentially parlay this brief notoriety into continued fame. While he continued his major efforts to maintain any level of attention he could during this time, while also releasing songs to capitalise on the success he had managed to find with his previous track, he would be offered the opportunity to appear for an interview with a prolific internet journalist known as DJ Vlad. For over a decade, DJ Vlad has become a well-known yet increasingly controversial fixture of rap and hip-hop culture, conducting candid interviews with primarily rap artists and industry insiders, while also occasionally featuring other well-known celebrities. An opportunity like this was yet another outlet for Kid Buu to broaden his horizons, and he would by all accounts make the most of the opportunity and provide an interview that to this day many still see as notorious. The atmosphere of Kid Buu's interview with DJ Vlad is strange from beginning to end. The most well-known and strangest claim made by him during the course of the interview is that Kid Buu claims to be a clone who was created by an organisation known as Clonaid, with the Kid Buu that was seen on camera in the interview actually supposedly being a second-generation version of himself.
Where'd you grow up?
South Florida.
Okay. I guess you were born in Jersey?
Yeah. Originally, my first gen. I'm a second gen now. That's why you see the celebrity births say I'm born in Toronto, but that's false. My first gen was born in Jersey. However, I was cloned by Clonaid in Canada. My model number is 0112568, if anyone wants to see the registration in Clonaid.
Okay. So then you ended up in South Florida?
Yeah.
Okay. And what nationality are you?
Sicilian and Puerto Rican.
Okay. Sicilian and Puerto Rican. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that now.
Those
That's
are
what's
my
up.
two genomes.
Okay. Who's the Puerto Rican one? Who's the Sicilian one?
When I was cloned, they wiped a lot of memory, but when I stole the documents before escaping, I read that the mother was Puerto Rican and I guess the father's surrogate, you could say, was the sperm donor was the Sicilian.
Okay, so you're a test tube baby.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
This strange claim would leave many confused, but he would go into some further detail about himself being a clone and would also use the concept of being a clone to justify some online platforms that had posted contradictory claims about where he had been born and where he was living at the time. Curiously enough, the company referenced by Kid Buu, Clonaid, who he claims made it possible for him to be cloned in the first place, actually did exist. Clonaid is an organization directly related to the Raelism religion and was dedicated to researching reproductive human cloning. While the organization has come under much scrutiny over the years, it's also not entirely confirmed that the company had ever successfully managed to clone humans. However, one of the company's largest controversies originated from the time that they had claimed to successfully have cloned a baby girl named Ava. While there is no details to confirm that Kid Buu ever actually had any association with Clonaid, it makes sense for him to use that company in his story, as they were one of the biggest companies that were ever connected to the Raelism religion, and, to an extent, it actively does make it difficult to tell if Kid Buu truly believes in the story he told in the DJ Vlad interview, but he would later go on to claim that he was joking about the Clonaid cloning situation. Unfortunately, it's a bit difficult to go back on a claim like that when it is legitimately, for most people, the only reason they know who you are. After this interview, Kid Buu would go on to flip-flop on the cloning angle, as he would fail to truly put the claims to rest. He would state that it was simply a marketing trick, but would then also continue trying to convince the community that it was true. Around this time, however, while his career was beginning to provide him with the largest audience he had ever had access to at the time, the problem that had been left in his past would be brought back to the forefront. One of Kid Buu's ex-girlfriend, a model named Sarah Penman, would upload a video to her YouTube channel talking about her experience dating Kid Buu and exposing the less than flattering details about his personality and what led to the relationship's quick demise. She claimed that he was a compulsive liar who lied about strange aspects of his life, such as his age, and that he would spend as much money as possible on trying to look like a big deal in the music industry, despite not having the talent to actually succeed. She would also go into some detail about his violent past and tendencies, as well as claiming that he, in her words, was not a good person. A blow like this to Buu's career this early could have been disastrous for his reputation, and while it did take a chunk of his momentum, it would also keep his name in the news, which for an artist like him was actually a good thing at the time. With a handful of viral songs and some clout in the community due to his strange character and questionable antics, Kid Buu was probably under the impression that his future success was guaranteed, but it would quickly become evident that this simply wasn't the case. As time went on, Kid Buu's career momentum would quickly start to diminish, as his value would drop almost just as quickly as it had grown originally. While it would be natural to assume that rappers' primary focus would be on their musical output, it seemed that for Kid Buu the focus around this time was to continue his unorthodox pursuit of relevance by inserting himself into strange situations with other well-known personalities in the rap community. During this time, he would be seen interacting with some big names in the industry, most likely harkening back to the times in his past where he would use social climbing tactics to grow his own career. He would also become engaged in internet drama with other prominent figures around this time as well. While these antics would serve to extend his relevance, even then it seemed like Kid Buu's relevance was only bound to last a handful of weeks more at the most. Following his attempts at growing his career through trying to appear on podcasts and radio interviews, Kid Buu would find himself in another prominent bout of relationship controversy, as he would start a relationship with Angela Renee White, better known by the stage name Black China, who was a prominent socialite, rapper, and model. While the two were dating, many continued to theorize that the relationship existed purely to bolster Boo's already dwindling fame. The relationship would come to an explosive end when it was alleged that Kid Boo had struck Black China in the face while the two had been vacationing in Hawaii. An arrest was never made in this specific case, leading to some believing that this was another unorthodox publicity stunt. But this situation would yet again bring prominence to Kid Boo's past relationship violence issues. There was also a brief period of time after this where Kid Boo's chain had been stolen, which led to yet more severe mockery towards the pink-haired rapper. With his career prospects looking grim to everyone on the outside looking in, it quickly became obvious that any attempt to feud with prominent personalities in the industry would be futile, as Kid Boo's reputation in the wider community was so bad that any time he would find himself engaged in beef, it would always be his opponents coming out on top with public support. This was even the case when he feuded with people who weren't even rappers. His next attempt at relevance was trying to gain a spot on the XXL freshman class of 2019. The XXL freshman class is a yearly tradition created by the popular rap magazine XXL, which highlights exemplary and up-and-coming artists that show potential to grow in the industry. Many major names in the rap industry have benefited greatly for their exposure in the retrospective freshman class appearances. Despite still continuing his clone persona for his application, he would fail to make the list, which didn't help with his already poor public reputation. In the year 2020, Kid Boo would release his debut mixtape, but by this point, his reputation had already fallen to the point that even the people who were intrigued by his antics weren't listening. His failure to establish a long-lasting career in rap would see Kid Boo ostensibly retire from the industry, resting on his infrequent but still notable successes. While his rap career was finished, this wouldn't be the end of his stint in the public eye, as he would later create an OnlyFans, a shocking choice that would again spark debate and mockery online. While Kid Boo's name would be occasionally mentioned over the course of the following years, as he would still find ways to garner interest from the community he had once strenuously been a part of, to this day his career exists as a brief but entertaining footnote in the rap community, defined by strange antics, social climbing attempts, and weird claims about his own origin that are provably false. The surreal and questionable story of Kid Boo and all of the situations that led to his fleeting success are just some of the reasons that his career never materialized into something greater. His strange social climbing and clout chasing, paired with his dark past and obscurest religious beliefs, may have inhibited his growth before his career even properly began. While it is impossible to claim that Kid Boo didn't achieve a level of fame greater than most can ever hope to achieve, when the potential hundreds of thousands of dollars he had to have spent to get to that position are taken into account, it can be easily argued that even with his brief success, his achievements aren't even worthwhile in the grand scheme of the industry he attempted so hard to become a big name within.